Alright, finally got to sit down and eat. But something has been heavy on my consciousness lately, as I've been noticing the shift in the atmosphere. Hold on. There is a shift in the atmosphere, not only in people, places, and things, but if you know what the Schumann resonance is, it's like a graph. It kind of looks like one of the machines in the hospital where it tracks your heartbeat and your blood pressure and levels. But this one is basically specifically for the Earth, which they call the Earth's heartbeat. It's been spiking out of control lately, literally off the charts. And like I say all the time, people lie, but consistencies and patterns don't. So as I'm skimming through the news, certain things is catching my eyes. I see an earthquake in Japan. I mean, not Japan, China. Them telling people to prepare for their emergency drill codes in California. The sea levels have been rising ridiculously all over the place. But like last week, they said the internet went out, or they said social media had went down. And let me tell you something. Lately, I've been getting a lot of revelations, or sometimes I will say channeling, when a lot of messages and ideas will come to me all at once. And in the midst of those ideas coming to me all at once, I'm able to decipher through them and get answers very quickly, at a fast pace. But in the same token, I'm noticing things going on. Even sometimes when I'm commenting on people's posts, or anytime that I need to get a message across. Now, look at the book of Revelations. It says in the last days, we will suffer from strong delusions. Basically, illusions. You won't know if you're coming or going what's real or fake. This is the age of AI. So as I say, as I'm responding to comments or putting a post up, you know that you have your microphone on your phone and it can activate. What I've been noticing, anytime I got an important message to say or go off and I use that microphone, it will misconstrue, discombobulate my words and say something completely different from what I said. So now lately I've been going back double checking. You gotta basically look at it as a rough draft and go back and check it, because I think that is purposely doing that. With all this AI series, robot engineering, with technology, they listen to everything we say. So why, when you got an important message or you need to get a specific point across, it purposely changes the words, puts the wrong words, or even sends a message to somebody that make it seem like you don't know nothing what you're talking about, or like you sent a drunk message. Now, that makes you question something, like why? Well, if they could send ads to your phone to sell you products based off of conversations that you had in private, what makes you think that in this time of ascension, where they know that people are becoming more woke and can see past the veil and see things exactly for what they are, just like in the news, how they trying to feed us this narrative about the war and this and that's going on. You can't play victim when it's obvious you got two parties that's not operating on the same frequency but trying to complete a certain objective. One's trying to get a peace deal while the other one is literally going to bomb them so the peace deal don't go through. And then they telling us one thing, but it's hard to tell somebody something or twist the narrative or make someone look like the villain. That's the same playbooks and tactics that's been going on all throughout history. History is his story. Mystery is my story. So all you have to do is look at the consistencies and patterns of who's lying, That's why you have to use your logics instead of emotions. A lot of people respond or react off of their emotions when they're dealing with a real topic at hand. But you can't go bomb somebody because they have a specific mineral or something that you deem as a threat, but this narrative has been being pushed for the last 30 years and they haven't did anything to harm anybody. But vice versa, the pattern on the other hand is, playing this hero and victim and a savior to the world, but everything in your path, you causing complete chaos, destruction, and annihilation. You can't play the victim when something happens when you the one that attacked first. Or even if it wasn't your decision to attack first, you followed up with your ally that's not even respecting your word or what you're trying to do, and you only in it off the strength of your ally. But there's so much more to that narrative. Because you see, all of this started happening at the same time. Certain files is coming out, certain things being exposed, and certain things is being brought to light. And as those things are being brought to light, you always notice a whole list or topics of distractions start to arise. So that is one of the key playbooks in this society. You deal with mass narcissism, play on people's perception, and you divert attentions from the real topics at hand or never answer the real questions at hand. So you always got people, you had them here, but you make this called the Hegelian dialect. It's when you create a problem to get a reaction, but already have a solution to the problem that you created, but you're diverting people's intentions or attentions purposely. Like I was looking at a comment today. Somebody was talking about a real thing, a real problem in America. White guy. He was on point, 100%. But a lot of other people of his culture, they didn't want to agree with him because he was nailing it so spot on and he was defending the other races. I'm just keeping it being. So what I seen in the comments, instead of challenging it, or debating it, what they first did, they started talking about his haircut. And then you got all these people liking it. But then when you look who's liking it, you see these profiles as people of the same background and mindset. And they were only in agreement because normally, if somebody's wrong, people in our society, they're very quick and big on correction, even if you say a slang word, but that's just our culture. And that's how some people talk, Nobody's going to be using, how you want us to use proper English when English is a mixture of other languages, which is the most brokenest language on the planet, and it's not even a pure language to begin with, but everybody want to correct people on words. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is, just the ideology. When somebody's trying to divert your attention from the topic at hand and turn it into a joke, that's like poking a bear, antagonizing it, and when it attacks, you say you the victim, and say, oh, no, I was just playing. Well, that's like you having a friend. Y'all go around a bunch of girls. He start doing little sneak dissing stuff, hating on you, and then you call him out on his shit, and you address it, and it gets serious. He goes, oh, I was just playing. No, the fuck you was not just playing. You was dead ass serious. You just think I wasn't going to call you out on your shit. But it's the same thing vice versa in these situations. When diverting the attention of the real topic at hand. That's how things get swept under the rug and they never get dealt with. And then nothing never gets done about it. Because people notice if they can get an alliance or get people to be in agreement with them, even if it's the dumbest shit ever or it makes no sense, they feel comfort within themselves. They feel, like somebody has their back or they're not alone. But in all actuality, we got to face the facts here, Prove all things, And do that by way of consistencies and patterns. Not by your emotions, or not because you already picked a side, When it comes to the political scenery, I'm independent, you know? To be honest, I don't believe shit none of them say, you know? And I don't think none of them can actually fulfill what they're going to say because there's so many parties involved, you know? And the number one person never has the ultimate decision, gets to make the ultimate decision at the end without going through votes or going through Congress and so many other things, you know? So even if they really wanted to do that, you got so many people blocking that. Look at Pennsylvania, for example, and the minimum wage. It's been at $7.25 for years. And look at the prices of everything just keep going up. There's no balance within that, and they're fully aware of that. And look how many proposals been brought up to up the wages. But then you have another people that are sitting there blocking it. Look at the congressional parties in Tennessee right now and all the redlining to where as though what they doing with the whole voting registry and all this stuff. You know, we're supposed to be going forward as a country and as people, but you have people that's purposely diverting things to send us back into the Stone Age. These people purposely are doing certain things and putting things out to create a race war or get a certain type of reaction. Look, before if you put nudity online, they would demonetize you and red flag you real quick. If you said something wrong, anything about the vaccine back then, they would block you, ban you, and say that you're going against the FDA and the Health Administration and so on and so on. Now you got people that's openly, they can put disrespectful, hateful speeches and videos out. None of that stuff is getting banned. It's actually circulating even more and more and more. If you notice, certain topics are coming up to stir more and more controversy. It's because of the timeline that we're in, you know? This is by design. And a lot of people, like the Messiah said on the cross, please forgive them, they know not what they do. Most people don't know not anything that they're doing. They're oblivious. They're deaf, dumb, and blind to the fact. They're just going with the influence at hand. You know, what's the majority? You know, not with the minority. You know, they just follow the leader, follow the programming. You know, do as we're told. You know, don't think independently for yourself. And that's the problem here. And it's wild. And if you notice, these phones are tracking your every word, everything you say, think, and do at this point. So, my point is, every time lately I've been trying to get a message across or something that is significance that I didn't channel at that specific moment, had the right answer for it right then and there, using that microphone, it literally changes everything that I was actually trying to say and says something completely different. Like I said earlier, what difference do you think it is if you, from your private conversations, they can, right afterwards, they can send you ads to your phones to sell you products? But look at all these lawsuits that came out but are not public, but they are out there of all these privacy breaches. Look at now when you link a card to a specific bank account and you have a subscription somewhere else, they're literally pulling from every card. This is not the card you had on file, but being able to link to that bank account, even when you got the card locked in there, they got some words though that you got to really read the fine print, because this is how they are getting people. They literally, how are you pulling from a card that I don't even have on file? I got my card locked on Cash App. That's why I don't even use Cash App no more. These people is wild. Like, you can't do nothing. They can spam call you all day, sell you all types of, try to sell you all these hopes, dreams, and wishes. They got all these loan sites, but every time you go on a loan site, guess who calls you? It's not an American, it's always a foreigner with an accent. How's that possible? But they can call you as soon as you put your number on anything you filled out for. It's basically asking you for authorization and consent to basically give your information to all these different parties. Then when you don't answer for one or block one, they just call you from another number. Basically like these internet numbers, but it's legal, you know? But even they got supposed to have a class action suit out against spam calls. But they have it to where it's though in text after a certain time of the day and night. So if they call you after 9 o'clock, then you can kind of like capitalize on that and make some money off it. See how diabolical this is? They take the land of the free and home of the brave to a whole nother level, but not for all the right reasons. They allow all this different stuff, but won't stop, you know, or allow certain things that really matter. It's manipulation, psychology, and scandalism. And narcissism is at an all-time high, you know, and playing on people's perception. And everybody that want to be the hero and always the victim can't do no wrong or take no accountability. It's the same tit-for-tat pattern over and over and over again. But people are becoming more mindful and aware. And these things are being decoded and exploited. That's the real spirit of discernment. But I'm going to leave that at that. Y'all have a nice day. Asha.